This is the Beautiful Branch Book Show, where we talk about books, and just books. Hosted by Dr. Omololambiri Omoshebi, having author after author come to talk about different aspects of life based on what they've written in their books, and to inspire people to read more books and write more books. Showing every other Sunday, live on Facebook at Omololambiri Omoshebi. This is the Beautiful Branch Book Show, where we talk about books, and just books. Hosted by Dr. Omololambiri Omoshebi, having author after author come to talk about different aspects of life based on what they've written in their books, and to inspire people to read more books and write more books. Showing every other Sunday, live on Facebook at Omololambiri Omoshebi. This is the Beautiful Branch Book Show, where we talk about books, and just books. Hosted by Dr. Omololambiri Omoshebi, having author after author come to talk about different aspects of life based on what they've written in their books, and to inspire people to read more books and write more books. Showing every other Sunday, live on Facebook at Omololambiri Omoshebi. Hello, good evening. Trust you are doing well.
Good evening.
Good evening, Facebook family.
Hi.
Good evening, everyone watching. It's so amazing to be here. We thank God for His mercy. Happy New Month, I should say. It's the first episode of the show on in this new month of March. And I'm really excited to be here today. To God be the glory. Thank you so much for joining us. If you can see us and watch us, please, you can see us clearly, you can hear us well. Please leave a comment as you join the broadcast. Yes, thank you so much, everyone that plugs in. Thank you. May God bless you. And I'm really excited to have my guest on the show today. Yes, she's an amazing woman. And she's very bold. I love that. Yes, I love that courage. And she has written a book that is, a book that talks about something that many people try to shy away from. People don't like to talk about the subject matter. And it's actually a critical one. And I was just telling her a few minutes ago that I really salute her courage to be able to write fearlessly about the subject matter. So we're going to get to meet her know who she is, first of all, before we go into the show proper. I believe that it's going to be an amazing time. It's going to be a moment of healing. It's going to be a moment of refreshing, a moment of inspiration, a moment of impartation by the message of the Lord. So first, like I always do, I will first of all read the profile of my guests. Yeah, so listen up. Olabisi Folarin is a minister and teacher of God's word, a Christian counselor of 2+ decades, and a certified relationship and marriage coach, whose passion is to help singles make informed decisions and choices about the institution of marriage, and also help the married build model and inspiring marriages via time-tested faith-based principles. She's also a certified marriage mentor and advanced marriage mentor from the Institute of Marriage and Family Life, USA. She is the co-pastor at the Equipping Church and the president of Pillars International, a ministry dedicated to building and raising spirit-filled women to affect their various spheres of influence. She's a convener of Women in Worship Spirit meetings, hosts Couples Uncensored, and anchor marriage and relationship conversations with PB on YouTube, and an author of 2 published books, Your Marriage is a Living Thing and Sex Uncensored. We are looking at the second one today, Sex Uncensored. PB, as she is fondly called, is a conference speaker and is happily married to Muyiwa Folarin, a pastor, and her husband of 14 years. They are blessed with 3 lovely children. Yes, that's my guest on the show today. You can see she is certified. She has all the certifications she needs to be able to talk to us about this subject matter seriously. Yes, so we are looking at the book Sex Uncensored on the show today. Sex Uncensored. Well, first, usually before we talk about the book, I like to talk a little bit about my guest. Let's hear from the horse's mouth. I've read your profile, but yes, tell us a little bit about yourself, about your background. You're a pastor's wife, you're a pastor yourself. Okay, so tell us a little bit about how the journey has been. How has it been? Is there something you'd like to share with us about your journey thus far as a minister of the gospel?
Well, I always prefer being asked questions because when you throw it to me, I'm just wondering what exactly do I think. But I've been pastoring since I was a student at the University of Badoo. So I've always been in ministry one way or the other from school up till when I got married. And yeah, so I've been on the pastoring journey for quite a while. Quite a while. God helping me before I got married to my husband, who himself is a minister and the senior pastor of a church. So I've been a church girl pretty much all along.
That's super cool. Yes, that's super cool. Thanks very much. So it's been in you all the while. It's been in you, like, basically. Yes. Okay. So let's dive into the book because there's so much to talk about. Like, it's so much to talk about. First of all, I want to ask, why did you write this book? Why did you decide to write about sex and marriage, Sex Uncensored? Why?
Okay. Well, being a certified marriage and relationship coach, sex is one of the things you always stumble across, on the field. I have a coaching practice, threefold called Marriage Academy, where I hold counseling and coaching sessions with people. And then statistically, been proven that sex is one of the top 3 things that causes issues in marriage. But however, what prompted me to write this book was during the lockdown last year. I felt a strong urge to go online because I knew that, because couples are held together and nobody's escaping anywhere, their issues will begin to arise. Family, if you're having issues with your wife, you don't want to deal with it, you simply go out, hang out with the boys, come back late and sweep it. But now couples were forced to be together. So I knew there was going to be issues, and my own little way of contributing in that season of the lockdown was to go live and begin to take topical issues that could help, douse tension. But of all the topics I took, I tried to do sex uncensored, and the response was so overwhelming. Like that was the one topic I've been having live. I've been going live for a while, even for the lockdown. But that particular live, the number of interest I got was a major indicator to me that look, this is a thing among couples. Like the number of views, I've never had that kind of number of views before in any of my life. It sparked a lot of interest. And so I had a part one, part two. I brought people who are my colleagues in the field, that had experience, and it was just a very beautiful time. And then after that, I did a master class, a paid master class, and I was shocked that people still, paid to attend, and people outside the country, called to act and I was like, wow, this is actually a thing. Even though we know sex, but to actually have a live feedback from real people made me know, wow, this is something that needs to be addressed. And a lot of couples sweep it under the carpet because society does not even make it so open a topic to discuss about. So along the line, I just felt very impressed upon my heart by the Holy Spirit that look, you've done a lot of work on this during this lockdown before now. You've done a lot of extensive work. It's time to chronicle these things on the pages of a book where people can refer to it from time to time. So I was just doing my domestic runs when that idea came. In fact, I was writing Your Marriage is a Living Thing when the inspiration for that came as well. I'm like, I've not even finished this, but the Holy Spirit said to put it down, and I dropped my phone and began to write the chapters, just the title of the chapters, and began to develop it because I saw that there was a need for it, and the Lord will have me put it in a book so that people can always refer to it from time to time. When you do a live, you do a webinar, people, some jot, some will remember, but when you have the book, you can always refer, to things there. So that was one of the reasons why I did that. And then I did some research during the lockdown. Statistics showed that quite a number of women were grossly dissatisfied but could not talk to their husbands about it, were hiding it. I mean, research and statistics from real people, real women, not imagined statistics that, I stumbled across, and some I did myself, and I was shocked at the response. Like when you talk about orgasm, quite a number of women are still not experiencing orgasm, but nobody's talking about it. So I decided to put all that, experience and build on the work in print so that people can always benefit from it from time to time. So that was my motivation for putting it out there.
Okay, so let me first of all say thank you for yielding to God. Yes, because in my little experience too, I have heard a lot of people talk about the aspect of sex in marriage as a major reason for breakdown of their relationships. And it's something we must face. Many people don't want to face it, but it is the fact. And well, should I say that women are usually the culprits, so to say? We have excuses, like that video that you shared the other day, and the guy was just giving. I was like, wow, why all these excuses? Where did she even get the excuses from? Like she was just fabricating the excuses. How do we even do it? Okay, can we talk about why? Why is it so that many women just have excuses to give? And I believe that there are women too that enjoy, this aspect of their marriage. They don't have so many excuses. Even if they have excuses, they still, somehow just come over it in one way or the other. So how? Why? What do you think is the reason?
Well, for some, there are traditional beliefs that, limiting beliefs and factors that affect some women from where they are coming from. I would how do I say? I will mention one or two. And then sometimes, truth be told, this might not sound so nice to the men, because after that video, I did a rejoinder post and everywhere just went silent on that post because it was very direct. I said, look, if a woman is enjoying sex, she will not come up with that excuse. If the man really knows what to do, because, for men, especially in Africa, you feel being a man confers on you the ability to know how to do sex. That's not true. The fact that you are male does not mean you know how to do sex. Sex, requires dexterity and skill a lot of times. So it's not just, you are not born with it. You can learn it and perfect it. Okay, so there is that thing about some husbands not actually knowing how to please their women and thinking they are actually pleasing her. They don't know how to please her, but they actually think they're pleasing her, and pride, ego will not let them. Now, I've sat down with a man in counseling whose wife told me point that she does not enjoy lovemaking. Her husband doesn't seem to know how to please her. And the man was like sincerely bemused. He was like, I don't know how to make love, and yet we have 3 children. And you see, that's the problem. The fact that you have 3 children does not mean the woman enjoyed the process that led to that.
Absolutely.
It doesn't take anything for a woman to have a child. She doesn't need to be pleasured to have a child. You can just insert your penis into her, deposit the semen. Once it meets with the egg, it fertilizes. It does not require her pleasure for that to happen. Do you understand? So if a man doesn't understand that, he doesn't understand that it's not about that. The fact that you made love and you have children does not mean that she actually enjoyed it. Okay, so because beyond the functionality of a woman being a woman, a man who has a womb and is able to conceive, is that she has to enjoy that primarily. That was it. Children were not the first thing. It was for pleasure. It was for intimacy. God created sex. So beyond her functionality as somebody who is able to produce a child, she must enjoy that act.
Right.
You know, so then talking about limiting beliefs, some people have traumatic experiences in the past that has left an indelible mark on them such that they can't bring themselves to enjoy the act with their husband. And if they were not open enough to discuss it with the man, you know, for fear of, you know, maybe he might not be interested again, it might be, you know, holding her back, doing love making, and the man does not know what the problem is. So sometimes the man is doing all the right thing, but she's just not able to receive because she's dealing with post-traumatic, you know, issues, experiences. Like now, this one is for a man. Funny enough, a man was raped by 2 ladies. He went to visit. They set him up, drugged him, you know, and he woke up to find out that he was raped, you know, by those 2 ladies. When he woke up and like was wondering, he met, you know, his trousers down, and he discovered that he was actually drugged and raped. Like they overpowered him and had their way with him just to prove a point, not for nothing. And that man said for a long time in that marriage, he had issues with his wife. Now, it wasn't the wife's fault. This was what was happening. Each time they were making love, and it looked like the woman wanted to like be on top, you know, take charge of the session, which of course there's nothing wrong with it. He would hold her hand physically and restrain her. Why? Because all that action sends to his brain is the fact that I'm being empowered again to be taken advantage of. You can see that has nothing to do with the wife, but she was suffering it because each time she wanted to, like, you know, okay, let me be on top or take charge, he got really violent and tried to overpower, like, no, you can't do that. What's the meaning of all that? So it took a while. They had to sit with a counselor that had to, you know, take him back at their experiences, and they were like, oh, actually, there was an experience. And, you know, they were able to trace it to that this is why this man reacts this way. And until that was explained to the wife, it was a problem. You know, they were having issues. But because with benefit of therapy and counseling, the wife now knew, oh, this is why my husband acts this way. They were able to overcome it over time because she understood where he was coming. So each time she felt a resistance, she didn't take it personal that, you know, it's you wanting to spoil my fun. No, she understood that this guy is dealing with something. Gradually, we were able to prayerfully go through it. So many things, you know, can bring about excuses during lovemaking. But for a woman, truly, once a man knows what to do, there shouldn't be any excuse. At least not that kind of frequent excuse. There's going to be an excuse. It's going to be really genuine. Probably she's very, very indisposed and ill. Right. Do you understand? Right. Because sometimes even when a woman is tired, if a man knows what to do, trust me, in that tiredness, you will enjoy it and come out to testify that, you know what, how do you move about that? I actually enjoyed it, but I was tired. Because you know what? And the headache. I'm telling you, because sex is your biggest sex organ is actually your mind. You can go past your mind and your feelings and enjoy sex, but only if the man knows the right buttons to press. So if a woman is complaining too often and all the time, there's something wrong. The man probably doesn't understand her body or know how to give her pleasure, or she has past experiences that are holding her back.
Right. I totally agree. Thank you so much for sharing that. My mind just went to something that I think is actually very critical. You know, many of us, we are taught to be silent about sex. We are taught not to talk about it. We like in the African setting, basically, we grew up in a place where we just we just hide. It's something we know we are going to face, but we don't talk about it. And I'm talking about the foundation now. Many people have already gotten it wrong even before getting into the institution of marriage. And I think that's where the problem, actually arises from. What is the place of counseling? What's the place of, the church? Let me be direct about it. Like, if I share our own experience, we went through counseling, premarital counseling, and not for once the pastor mentioned anything about sex. He didn't talk about love making, nothing. And we went through weeks of counseling, but nothing. And I'm not exaggerating, I mean nothing. He did not mention anything. Yes, thank God that, okay, we had books and then we have read and stuff like that. And then we had to learn along the journey, but it makes it rather difficult. The fact that the people that are supposed to guide are not doing their jobs. Let me put it that way. So what do you think is the real, duty of the marriage counselor before people go into marriage? How do we lay the right foundation? This is for the singles.
In as much as I'm a pastor, like I said, I've been pastoring for years. I'm strongly of the opinion that couples who are about to get married should actually go for independent coaching or counseling outside of the church. Remember, I'm a pastor, so I wouldn't say anything against the church. But this is what we've seen over the years. A lot of pastors are not trained professionally. And sometimes it's not even the pastors that handle that session in the church. Maybe just an elderly couple. It's not enough that you are elderly or you are old in marriage. Does not mean you have a success. Does not mean you have the right tools to teach, or to raise young people coming. So what I tell young people, once you get engaged, go for an independent coaching section with certified counselors, because you know what, at that point they are able to help you. If you have to walk away from this, now walk away. Most times by the time they get to the church, they're not ready to hear the truth. One, even when it's obvious to those counseling that this thing, you guys are not supposed to be together. Ashwebi has been bought, all the families are involved, so they are reluctant to disengage. I'm talking about being really direct. We can't afford to be churchy about these things, and that's why for most churches now, I personally am also advocating that those in your counseling session should please be trained. They should go for professional counseling sessions. You can't come and then if sex is one of the top 3 things that causes issues in marriage, I don't understand why I should come for a counseling session and it's not going to be mentioned. That exactly. I don't know. I mean, it's an aberration to say the least. Right. So a lot of churches are not doing that, and they should get your counseling department trained to actually speak on these things professionally and deal with all the topics. If I'm going to talk to you about sex, I'm not going to be saying your body is your husband's, so your wife's body is yours, your husband's body is yours. I'm going to break it down for you. Like, if you're going to be embarrassed, because when it's time to do the two, there's no, you have to do it. I just spoke to a newly wedded couple maybe like 2 months ago, and I found out that after 1 month, they hadn't broken through the hymen. I was like, what? You have not done what? What have you guys been doing? Apparently, the wife was scared. The husband was afraid of hurting her. I'm like, is your husband a virgin? She said, no. She's a virgin, and she feels they've not broken through. And I told her, what if I tell you you've broken through? What if I tell you I've broken the hymen? She was like, I said, did you get my book? And this is somebody in my network. I'm like, you've not gotten my book. Get your car. Go and get it. And I said, get it. You've broken through. The problem is you are afraid, and your husband too is petting you. He doesn't want you to be scared. Let's even say there's going to be pain. That's part of preconceived ideas you have gone into that marriage with, that it has to be painful. It really doesn't have to be painful. I would prefer to use the word discomfort. And so they only read the book, and by the time they were done, they came back like, wow, Pastor Bisi, you were right. We've broken through. I said, you've broken through already. You are the one restraining the guy. Get KY jelly. Get anything that will make the passage easier for you. You are hurting because you have programmed your mind to believe that this is going to hurt. And he's also told himself, I don't want to hurt my wife. I said, can you just relax? Number one, your muscles are contracting, so you will experience pain. Can you just relax and let this guy do his job? It's that simple. And then I said, for him, he has to learn your pleasure points, and you have to be expressive. During love making, be expressive. Because listen, I tell women, your husband is not the Holy Ghost. He's not the Holy Ghost. It's not on your inside. You are the person that knows what point the penis hits in your vagina gives you pleasure. You have to express pleasure. It gives the man a feedback. Do you understand? All these things have to be taught. So if you are not going to be this deep during church counseling, I don't know what we're counseling. We should stop causing issues and problems. Now, that was a new couple, but they read the book and 1 or 2 tips I gave them, and they came back and they're like, wow, wow, wow. I was like, why are you shouting like ambulance? Did they teach all these things? Like, they didn't go that deep. I said, now you have it. So he has broken through. Your mind is telling you that he hasn't broken through because you're expressing pain, because that's what you have fed your mind with. The mind is so powerful. All right. And they were able to do that. That's after 1 month plus that you've gotten married and you didn't break through. How? These things need to be taught. And those people went through the same traditional marriage counseling we do in churches. We need to stop that. It's either we get our counseling department in churches trained professionally, or we get people that qualify to. If pastor can't do it himself, then he should get people there. Look, some churches are so big, you have those professionals there. Put the professionals, deploy them in the church. Let them be the ones handling it. Not because somebody is 30 or 40 years in marriage. No. Some of them are just, we're there, we just keep doing it. It's not as if they understand some rudiments themselves. It's this thing of the same way we've been doing it so that it will be. No, some of these people didn't even have the result. So, I mean, there are no sentiments about this. We have to say the way it is and get qualified people to handle this job. And pastor himself, like I said, I'm a pastor. I've been certified as a professional counselor. I've been certified as a coach. You know, professional counseling itself is different from, being a certified coach. The way a professional counselor will approach an issue is not the way a coach. A counselor will not tell you what to do per se, but will present to you, these are the pros, these are the cons. You need to make the right choices. A coach, I will tell you up front, this is what you should do. So there is a slight difference. So churches need to really reform. And I love that a lot of churches are really, coming up to, they're actually adopting that. So we need to help more couples. Just imagine that those couples got married in January, and for a month they weren't able to do anything, or they were telling themselves that nothing has happened. I said, who told you nothing has happened? This guy has penetrated. You think you're having pain, or you're forming pain because that's what you have programmed your mind to believe. And so it keeps sending that message to your brain. But by the time they read the book, use the jelly, they're like, Olabisi, you are right. I mean, he has broken through. I said, leave this guy to do this job. What's your problem? And he too, you should discover what your pleasure points are. And the only way you can discover is if you give him feedback. Don't lie down there like a log of wood. Give feedback. That's how the man knows what exactly ticks the boxes for you.
Right. Thank you so much for that answer. Thank you so much. I would like us to talk about the progress, or how would I put it now? After some time, some people will complain that, in the initial part of our marriage, we're having it cool, like we're enjoying the other room matters and stuff like that. We're enjoying love making, but it's changed now. What are some of the things that go on in marriage that could actually kill romance, like kill the bedroom?
A lot. So children can kill romance if you allow them. They're supposed to be blessings, but if you allow them, they will kill it. Well.
Right.
Like sometimes couples need to just do a getaway from everything. If you're blessed to have either of your parents alive, please learn to take your children to them. Not forever, maybe a weekend. Do a getaway. Marriage does not run on autopilot. The people, they have to make it work. And so there's no how. When you're 6, 7, 8 years in marriage, sometimes the marriage will play too. It just gets boring at a point. Is it an outsider or an angel that will come and spice things up? For you guys need to learn how to spice things up. Begin to ask yourself, what were the things we were doing in those earlier years, or when he was quoting me that used to, really, really get me aroused, tick my boxes. Bills too can kill romance in marriage. When the man is busy thinking of how I'm going to pay school fees, how I'm going to pay this. So those things, and no marriage is devoid of them. We always express those things. So what we need to do is to consciously, deliberately look for ways to keep reinventing, is the word, reinventing the fun and the bliss in that marriage. And there's so many ways to do it. In the little things, you are going off to walk, learn to hug, learn to touch more, learn to kiss more. Don't let it be like your husband is coming from work, everybody's coming, how was the day? Everybody's just you eat and go to bed. We're looking at our phones. That's how, look, this thing creeps in. It's subtly, little by little, till everything just vaporizes. So children can kill it. Work-life balance can kill it if you don't have a hang of it. The bills, everyday living. can kill it. But we have to be intentional about reinventing the love and the affection between us. The things you used to do, keep doing them. And if you feel like you are feeling stuck in a rut in your marriage, it's time to get creative, both parties, not just the woman. And there are 1,001 things to do. I can on the top of my head reel out like 10 things, you understand, to do. They look like silly things, but those things will ensure that your marriage does not get to a point where the oil in like a car engine becomes so thick and viscous it's affecting it. What do? You pull out that oil and put a fresh one. It's that simple. You always have to keep refreshing it. And it's the duty of both parties. No angel is going to come and do it for you.
Right. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. I'm going to give you a blank check now. I want you to just tell us something from the book that you really want us to hear. Anything, something from the book that you really think it's important that we know about.
Wow, there's so much. So let me see which one. Let me just zero on one chapter in my book. I think I've spoken about limiting beliefs. I talked about post-traumatic experiences. Another thing, this sounds funny, but some people believe sex is dirty and they enter into marriage with that mindset. They are the ones that immediately after love making, they want to stand up and go and wash up. Meanwhile, after making love, you're supposed to be bonding and chit-chatting. Meanwhile, one party was like feeling dirty. Over time, I used to be like that at the initial point in night, but over time I got over that. It has a way of cutting the flow. Another one is that the goal of sex in marriage is to please the man. Who told us this rubbish? The goal of sex in marriage is not, because that's what some of our mothers were told, and they passed it on. These things, old wife fables that they keep passing on to you, that just make sure when your husband is well taken care of, you are giving it to him 24/7. Hello, so who is giving it to the woman? And that's why we've raised up a lot of entitled men who, through no fault of theirs, but through culture and tradition that has been placed in their mind, that the woman's job is to please me. No, sex is about mutual pleasing. Okay, so woman, don't go into love making. You say, let me give it to him. No, you're changing yourself in that marriage, and even God did not send you that message. Like, don't do it. That's one of the limiting beliefs that makes people don't have sex. As long as my husband enjoyed, he has climax. And the funny thing is, it takes a man, an average man can climax in 3 minutes. Do you understand? But for a woman, she's just putting between the 4 to 7 minutes. It might take her 4 to 7 minutes to get fully aroused. So when you are finished having your own food at the 3rd minute, what happens? How do you feel the gap between the 3rd and the 7th minute when she has just become fully aroused? She's just about to enter into it. The men have to learn. They have to learn to prioritize their woman's pleasure, because it's easier for them to attain pleasure than a woman. A woman is just, getting gingered. While you have had your done. You're done, and then that's when women complain. You just turn over, you snore, you start sleeping. Like, seriously. You're frustrated the woman. She's just putting. Men have to be taught that, and all these things is stemming from the fact that as long as my wife is to please me, but no. The duty of love making, I don't like using the word sex for it, is that both of you are pleasuring each other. And that's why I talked about dexterity and skill. If a man does not understand that my woman, while I'm climaxed, she's just starting, she's just putting. If he has that head knowledge, he knows to actually withhold his own pleasure and allow her climax, or if they can climax together. And if it's not happening that way, then he should learn to allow her, because it can happen in seconds, in minutes. It's faster for them. So those are one of the things. And then another thing, talking about limiting beliefs, is that, some of our mothers have discouraged our women from being expressive. I'm shocked that in this day and age, they're still doing female genital mutilation. They're still doing female genital mutilation. I found out that, I read it somewhere in parts of Africa and even Nigeria, that, some women, they are asked to take off, what do you call this? What do you call it? What do you call this thing where you take up the clitoris? And I can't believe that it's still happening. And a man is telling a woman that during pregnancy, the woman is pregnant, you need to take off your clitoris. It's part of the tradition, or else the child will die. Are you guys kidding me? Yes. So that kind of woman is already she's going to have issues being expressive during love making, because the tip of the clitoris has twice as much nerve endings than that. It has 8,000 nerve endings. A woman's clitoris has 8,000 nerve endings. That's twice twice the number of that on the tip of a man's penis. So a man has like 4,000 sensory nerves there that you can fondle with to give him pleasure. A woman has 8,000. When you now Constant of, because where is the pleasure for the woman?
You finish that.
So some women have been told, you'll be looking like a slut to be expressive. Listen to me. The best place to be expressive, that's the certified place to be expressive. Please be expressive. If you have to moan. If you have to scream, scream, as long as you don't wake up your neighbors. Those are some of the things that hold back women, you know, from enjoying sex. So I just want to speak briefly on all some couples have been doing for the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years of their life is that they've been having sex, they've not been making love. And there is a huge difference. That's where I started my book from. That you need to start making love and stop having sex. And somebody is wondering what's the difference between making love and having sex. You see, just let's on a joking mode, making love, you know, it even sounds, you know, more, how do I say, more slush, more sweet, more soft. Having sex is just so rough to the ears. That's on a lighter note. All right. But you know, love making connotes a process. When you say I want to make cake, to make anything, I want to make bread, it connotes a process. Okay, but to have something is a one bam thing. Okay, I want to have it. Just give it to me. But to make love shows a process. And the problem why a lot of women don't appreciate or love sex or love making, like I said, I like calling it love making. It's because the men don't make the love, they just have sex. You jump on your woman, oh yeah, you just like let me not call it, but class said, oh yeah, you just do. In fact, the things I hear in counseling, you just tap your woman, oh yeah, open your leg, you go, gashi, open, you enter, and you come out. Really? You didn't. I mean, you just had sex, you didn't make love, and that woman cannot enjoy it. There is a process to love making. So I encourage people, don't have sex, make love. Because if you have sex, you can just enter trust. And a lot of men have been sold the lie that once you just enter, you are trusting, pumping, and you come out. She's not like one of my sisters today. She's not a deflated tire. What are you pumping? There's a process to it. All right. And let me make this relatable, because it's one of the reasons why women don't enjoy sex. You just jump on her, you are putting your penis inside, and that's it. Once you come, you are out. Really? You have not tried to arouse her body, make love to her mind. Love making does not start in the bedroom at night. It starts right from the morning when you begin to appeal to her mind. A woman you have not called her throughout the day, you offended her in the morning, you abuse her to leave in the house. You're not calling, hey babe, how are you? How are you doing? I just called to say I love you. You jump. You didn't feel the gap between morning and night. Then you now come at night. You eat. You did not even help her when you came back. She was busy sweating like a goat. You crossed your leg with your newspaper, watching TV. Then at night you want to say, honey, what? Nothing is going to happen. She's going to be telling you that the cat is watching both of you. Those kind of stupid excuses we saw in that video.
I'm telling you.
Number one, a lot of women are annoyed. They are annoyed. They are too annoyed to even make love to you because you are not invested in their emotions all day. And you want to come all night. Are you an animal? Can we say these things the way it is? It is animals that have sex. Human beings make love. Because the major difference is there's a process. Love making does not start in the bedroom. You kiss her in the morning, hey babe, you come back, you how was your day? You're making sure you call. I just called to check on you. How you doing? You send her some romantic text messages. You're already driving yourself crazy, such that the expectation is mounting up. You want to see this person because they have heightened it during the day. All I'm thinking about, I can't concentrate at work, babe, as in you're in my view. We are some of us are so cultural, we are so religious, we don't even know all of that. Like Papa Shew or Mama Shew, what's Mama Shew? Are you okay? I get very passionate when I talk about this. you know, good. So a woman you do not call, you don't beg, you don't walk, you don't show any emotions, all they just come at night, and you're not even romantic about. You know, some men don't even know how to romantically make the move. You just say, hey, oh yeah, it's time for what? What is oh yeah? Chai. Yeah, he doesn't know what romantic ways to jumpstart this problem. What's the problem? A woman you do that to will just be like, okay, Kusha, let him just have his way. You know what, you might have succeeded in pleasing yourself, but if you're a true man of God, a man who loves your wife, you won't feel fulfilled. A good man shouldn't feel fulfilled making love to his wife and she did not enjoy it and he enjoyed it. You shouldn't feel fulfilled. You should have a problem with it. Do you understand? My own husband, by the time I'm not vested in that action, he knows, he feels it and he pulls back like, what's wrong? I was like, no, I'm okay. I said, no, it's not okay. Because he doesn't believe in it, just enjoying it and I'm left hanging. So he finds out, okay, what's wrong here? And let's do this again. That's how it should be. It's not about you. Right. It's not about go to marriage to go and please your husband. No, we came to mutual pleasing. Because now, let me draw a difference for you. An animal, we all see it every day in our environment. A male cock will just jump on a hen No prior notice, nothing. He just jumps on her and just do shuku shuku shuku. Pardon me to speak your back or shumole. Like, what is that? The same thing, the same thing with a lizard. We are not animals. No protocol, they just jump. He has been looking at her, hey, you. He subjugates her. Have you seen a lizard? He will press her head down and then forces himself in. He just finished. He just shakes his tail and it's off. You're not an animal. You don't jump on your woman. There are processes to this thing. Make love. Touch her in places that would drive her wild. She'll be the one begging you. Okay, so that's the difference between sex and love making. So I would say to couples, stop having sex, start making love. There is a difference. Right. Animals have sex. Right. Human beings should make love. That's why we're higher animals.
Right. That was beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Myself and my husband, we also believe in the word love making. Like we've adopted it for years now. Instead of sex, we prefer to call it love making. Yes, because it just like you said, just makes better sense. It
makes better sense. Let's make magic here.
It just sounds better. Like yes,
not crude.
I just wish.
It sounds really I
just wish that
because that's different. Animals have sex. We shouldn't have sex.
Exactly. So I just wish that many people would get it right. You have shared so many things, so many important things in just a few minutes. Yes, very, very important stuff. And I pray that people will change. You know, like you have mentioned, we live in a culture or in a place where people think it's about the man. Like, just do it. You better do it so that you won't go and do it outside. You know, they instill the fear in the heart of women. They make them look like it's a job that they have to do, like it's a chore. You know, make it look like it's an obligation that, you know.
So some women don't even know how to receive the pleasure, even when they're enjoying it. They have been told not to be expressive. Please be expressive. The bedroom is where you should be expressive.
Exactly.
You understand? You're not a slut, and if you're a slut, be a slut for your husband. Just be expressive because really, I found out that it even heightens the pleasure in the bedroom. The men love it when they're women. They can see that, oh, I'm doing a good job here because she's probably moaning or saying something. Yeah, enjoying it. If you can't say it, please kindly leave his hand to where it is doing it for you. Your husband is not the Holy Ghost. Right. It's not the Holy Ghost. For some men, a lot of men, once the penis is inside, they have the ability to get their pleasure. For a woman, it doesn't just happen like that. There are spots on her body that are hot spot that does it for her. So when it hits you there, please learn to say it, or if you can't say it, just make sure you are expressing the pleasure. Don't inhibit the pleasure. You are not helping that man, because once he knows that, oh, okay, this one does. Subsequently, and the beautiful thing about men, in fairness to them, is once you send that signal to them, they want to outdo themselves in pleasing you. And then let me just say something that is a bit technical that a lot of men don't also know. So while you're doing a good job and your wife is acknowledging you, I know that as a man, they really thrive on that feedback in the act. So they want to increase the tempo of what they're doing. They want to really now do ×2. But listen to me, if you're a man here, most times while trying to achieve that, you will make the woman lose the orgasm. And I try to ask around, maybe my own is this orgasm we're talking about, this height of pleasure by woman, it's not something that lasts for long minutes. It's just a few minutes, sometimes even seconds, maybe 60 seconds or just a few minutes. Orgasm is not something that lasts for long. Do you understand? So if there was a tempo that got that woman to that point where she's exclaiming in pleasure, I know it's sending a feedback to you, but sir, please try and maintain that tempo. Because in a bit to want to pleasure her more, like, oh, this is really, and you increase the tempo or you reduce it, she loses that, what do you call it? Orgasm. There's a tempo and there's a rhythm that brought her there. But if, because she's giving you a feedback, please enjoy the feedback, but please, except she says to increase the tempo or decrease it, leave it at that level, because there's a very thin line between a woman losing and maintaining an orgasm. Bearing in mind that orgasm is not something that stays for long. So please don't spoil the good show that you're starting by cutting her short. You know, so those are some of the technicalities that also needs to be explained and should be told. Like you said, there are very few church counseling, you go there and the counselors will be telling you keep stuff like that. They'll just say your body is his own, his body is your own, so you people should give yourself. What is all that? What are we giving ourselves? Can you please tell us what we're giving ourselves?
I wonder.
Like, God is the custodian of this thing. He gave it to us. We can't be more holy than this God.
Right.
He gave it there for a purpose. It's not primarily for childbearing. It was first for intimacy. So you're first to enjoy the act before it now brings fruit or bears fruit for you.
Right. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for dishing it out to us hot. And thank you guys for watching. Thanks for staying with us. I appreciate everyone that has joined us. Thank you for leaving comments, for your feedbacks and all. We appreciate you. If you have any question, please drop it in the comment section before we round off. Yes, because we'll be rounding off soon. Well, I already have a question here, actually, so I would like us to talk about it. The person is saying that we should talk about how many times a man or woman should have sex in a week or a month, and also how can a man or woman learn to improve in their sex life. I want us to talk about it because I have my own opinions, but I want you to talk about it.
About the duration, how often?
Yes, how often?
The person asked how often should it be done in a week or in a month, and then the second thing was what can be done to improve. Well, let me start from the first one. How often should be? See, they are not hard and fast rule. There's no law that says we must have sex often. But shockingly, some research has come up to say that especially for the sake of the men, it's part of what causes prostrate in later years. So a man should have. They were quoting something like, you guys just have to be joking. Yeah, you have to be joking. You want to kill us. The man should have much more sex, because if he doesn't have, there's no point of release for semen, and it's part of what causes prostrate for men. Yes, we understand that, but that does not now say it must be done every day, except both of you have the energy for it every day. So I personally don't give couples, like, all I would say, it should be often and it should be mutual. It's by mutual agreement. Do you understand? And as often as possible. I've learned that the biggest sex organ is your mind. So for the women, so sometimes when you're saying you're tired, it's true, but it's not true. Because for a man who knows your trigger point, knows how to handle your body, you see, in that tiredness, by the time he handles you, you won't even remember that you're tired. It's by the time you're not like, I thought I was tired, because really, part of the benefit of sex is to ease stress. Right. It's to ease stress off you. So look, knowledge helps how couples enjoy their sex life. If you know that it's not about illness, sometimes marriage and even sex is service. You don't need it, but you can see that your husband really needs it at that point. Sometimes we do it out of service. But I told myself earlier on in marriage that even I came in with that mentality, service. My husband was by in the mood, okay, I mean, I can't hold back. Let me pleasure him. But I told myself after some time that if I'm going to ever say yes, even when I'm not in the mood and I'm pleasuring, I'd better be enjoying it. And so I reformat my mind to enjoy it. I just told myself it's not going to be a wasted session for me as well. I'm going to plug my mind, because see, your mind is the biggest sex organ. You can tune your mind to begin to enjoy it. If you say it's a lie, how do those who masturbate, do you think they masturbate in a void space? No. There's something, they're imagining a picture or a woman, something, an image before them, and they are masturbating. They are not masturbating in the void. So it's a mind thing, not making it be a mind thing. You can tell yourself, I wonder, you can imagine, picture, and tell yourself, I'm going to enjoy it, and I've done it one time to me personally. You will, your body will begin to agree with your mind, and you plug into it, you will enjoy it. So as per how often, I would say mutual agreement between both spouses. You understand? But I don't think a week should go back where you guys are not intimate. But like I said, life happens. For the man, sometimes when he's under pressure to pay bills at work, it just looks like he's not interested. It's not that he's not interested. Life is taking its toll. But then even in the midst of all that, you have to be intentional and deliberate. If you also know what to do to turn your man on, then you can get him interested. Even in the midst of that stress, there's a chapter in my book that says something like different strokes for different folks. That a man is turned on by what he sees. A woman is, turned on by words. In those seasons, you can use those things. Now, for a long time, my husband has been saying for a while, but it didn't click until like the 10th year of our marriage. My husband used to tell me that your legs are sexy. I love your legs. I mean, I don't used to see what is sexy about my legs. And I never took it serious until a particular day they said it again, that your leg turns me on. Now, that is information that's been given to you by that man. What are you doing with it? A lot of us, it doesn't make any sense. But I started out like, wow, this guy has been saying it. Okay. So it simply means if I'm in the house, especially alone with my husband or in the bedroom, I can go on shots. If that turns him on, you understand? You see, somebody says the act of seduction is for the wives. It's not even for the side chick. And I agree with that statement to the degree that seduction we're talking about here is in its purest form, not seduction unto witchcraft. So if we agree that it's seduction in its purest form, then I agree that seduction is the act of the married woman, not the side chick. So if anybody has the ability to seduce your husband, woman, it is you. Like, that's my husband giving me a key. He didn't mean to give it to me as a key. Just like, wow, your leg just turns me on. I said he wants to hug me when I'm wearing short things and he sees my leg. What are you doing with that information? Use it to your advantage. So even when the time is not interested, just go on your shorts and you know the triggers to pull. You should know your husband. You will see that he will come round. So all these stories we always tell ourselves, I'm not in the mood. You don't know what to do yet. I'm serious. Both parties. Now the second question, please remind me again, ma.
How to improve?
How to improve? It's still part of it. If your husband says your leg turns him on, please, why are you wearing jeans? Why are you wearing Sister Mary's skirt in the house? The bum shot is not for outside, especially if you are endowed. If your leg turns your husband on, hello, auntie, turn up the magic in the bedroom. You know that. You know, men, they don't. It's we that know how to say no. A man, if your wife says husband, they don't have to say no. The thing that is doing that man must be very serious for him to reject you or you annoyed him. Turn up all the arsenals. You are certified, qualified under God to do so. You are not a side chick. Okay? So if it's to wear crop top, you're endowed in front, you're endowed in back. And the problem is when we talk, when we discuss intimacy, sometimes you are dropping hints for your husband. He's not picking it. Or your husband is dropping hints. As the wife, you're not picking it. I take that as a hint. So if I feel like looking for my husband's trouble sometimes, I just do that. If I feel he's not noticing it, and we shall do something that will call his attention to it, or I'll just go and hug him from the back. There are things to do. And a chapter in my book says sex is work. I'm telling you, sex is work. There is a work part to sex. You can't just sit down, lie down there, expect that you have pleasure, even as a woman. No. I said that your husband is not the Holy Ghost. He doesn't know the pleasure point in your body. You know the pleasure points. Can I tell you something? All it takes for a woman to orgasm is just 2 inches of your husband's penis into your vagina, because that's where the G-spot is. But a lot of men have been brainwashed to think it's about, okay, pardon me, I'm going to bury right. I don't believe they are married people here. Let's say these things the way they are. Let's say your husband's penis is 6 inches. You know, sometimes it doesn't need the 6 inches to go fully into your vagina for you to have an orgasm, because the G-spot is just 2 inches into your vagina. But a husband does not have that information as his fingertips. He will just think it should just be pumping, be trusting. Sometimes trusting doesn't do it for the women. He just needs the tip of your penis for that woman to orgasm, because if he hits her G-spot, and that's why I say sex is work. The woman has to adjust and twist her body to a point where the penis can hit the G-spot. Why? Your husband is not inside of you. He does not know, even you do not know where your G-spot is, but you can feel it. You can feel it because each time your husband's penis touches that point, you orgasm, you lose it. See, you cannot hit orgasm and not know that you have hit orgasm. It's a different feeling completely. So there's work. You can't just lie down there like, I don't enjoy it, he's not doing it. How are you cooperating with him? How are you twisting and moving your body such that the penis is hitting the G-spot? Because he's just going to come in blindly. His penis does not have eyes. That hole there at the tip of the penis is not eyes. He's not seeing nothing. Pardon me, but let's just say these things the way they are. So it depends on what it is that is giving you issues. Then you walk around that. If it's that he's not touching you in the right places, then you have to cooperate to let him know what places. If you can't say it verbally, then leave his hand there. Or moan when he does something that pleases you, so that he knows. When you moan, you send a message to his brain, oh, okay, what's this thing that I just did, she loved it. So you will see that next time when you're making up, he will keep hitting on that, because you have told him without even speaking that this point gives me pleasure. I hope I answered that person's question.
Yeah, I believe so. Thank you so much, Ma. The other question, this Shadrach, it says, my question, which is, it says, why is the church not really catching the youth young in matters like this to especially erase some certain old ideologies off their heads and prepare them for a happy home, rather than allow them to get filled with all sorts of jargons which later affect their marriages?
Okay, generally speaking, it's a rather large thing. I think I won't use an umbrella voice. Like, I don't like being general. Some churches are really doing a lot
Right.
in their youth department and their young singles. Some churches are doing, and while some churches are not doing. But there's also the part. Let's stop putting all the blame on the church.
Yes.
Because I see that sometimes the church does all they can do. The people can choose to listen and not do. The church cannot, you can take a horse to the stream. You can't force that horse to drink water. So some churches are doing the work, putting out all the information, the teachings there. There is a part of people taking personal responsibility to do, being deliberate and intentional. Now, as it pertains to sex, we can't be this explicit with youth. The angle we can come across to with youth, because you don't want to expose their minds to this much that I've said. It's not needed. The mind is very fertile. You don't want to leave room for experimentation. So even my book, Sex Uncensored, I said categorically, if you're a single, avoid me. And this book is not for you. Except you are engaged, you're about to get married. Yeah, because I was really, really explicit in this book. It was no holds barred. You know, some things, even as a church people, you just scream that, this woman just opened all her mouth. Yes, we have to say it. Just like the couple that just got married in January. Can you imagine, after 1 month, you've not broken through? How? Why should you not break through? What did they teach you? So at the youth level, at the single level, we're just discouraging you from having sex, you know, and giving you valid reasons why you shouldn't have sex and how you can prevent yourself from having sex. Do you understand? So it's not just enough to say, don't have sex, what the Bible says. So why shouldn't they have sex? The generation Z is asking for questions. And so just telling them not to have it is not going to quite cut it. You're going to have to tell them why. And you're going to give them valid reasons and show them, you know, the disadvantages, how it outweighs the advantages and how it is detrimental to them. So I don't think all churches can be said not to be doing things. Churches are doing things, you know, some are doing and some are not doing. But generally, I think the church needs to also speak out more, even with the married couple. The amount of issues going on in marriages, you don't want to know, that is being hushed and not being spoken about. So I doubt that most pastors want to come and say this much that I've said. And even this one is just a tip of the iceberg on a Sunday morning. And really, there's nothing wrong with it as far as me I'm concerned. We can call it a strictly couple service, or begin to curate programs around that. Have date nights for couple, because you know that there will still be some young singles in the congregation. You don't want to be this explicit, because truth be told, we don't even also want to get their mind active. If you call me, for example, to speak about this, honestly, I will go deeper than this. So I'll tell you, is it a couple gathering where I can feel free to talk? And I can, you see, there is no, pardon me to speak, but there's no apology more, because I've seen things, I've seen the pain that comes with not being informed. Our couples are just suffering on top nothing, just because they are not informed. So what churches can do, also curate meetings or programs that addresses that, where it's a safe space where we don't have children, we don't have teenagers, we're just talking to couples, and you create one for teenagers and customize topics that, you know, deal with the groups of people. I think that will help.
Right, I agree. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's been almost an hour, and I've had an amazing time, you know, having this chat with you. Thank you so much for letting us into the space of your book. Yeah, so we should get this book, and how can we get the book?
I think every married person, and those that are sure that they're on the road to marriage, those that are engaged, about to be married, maybe you're 6 months you're married, 2 months you're married, the process is on. Please get the book. Even married couples should get it, because it will shock you the amount of things that men think they know and they don't know. And when they come for counseling, they're wondering what's the problem, and their wives are saying there's a problem, and they are feeling slighted. If you truly love your wife, love does not insist on its own. If she's saying I'm not being pleased in this area, you should go out of your way to do something about it. And I can assure you, this book, I've left. If some of you are shocked at how brazen I was speaking, you know, calling things, is even much, it's positively worse in my book. So you can get the book if you are married. It's for men, it's for women, it's for newly married couples, it's for those that are engaged, about to get married. And you can get it by sending me a DM. Currently, it's only available in e-copies. You send me a DM, and in a matter of seconds or minutes, you will have it in your email, you know, to read. I am really trusting God to get this into the hands of as many persons as possible. And most times when I give out the book, I'm excited at the reviews I get from even the men. I'm particular about the reviews from the men. The women are always willing to come for counseling. They're willing to get books, or the men are not so willing. But when they read it and I get the feedback, I'm like, wow, that was what this book was meant, to achieve, because it leaves no stone untouched. You can send me a DM at Olabisi Folarin. I'm Folarin Olabisi on Facebook, on Instagram, the same Olabisi Folarin. Send me a DM, or you can go through my sister here, Dr. Molola. She will get in touch with me. Just send your email. The book is 2,000 naira, and for the e-copy, it will be coming out in print later on, the next 2 months or thereabouts. But when it comes out in print, it's like a 130. Can you hear me?
Yes,
can you hear me, ma'am?
I can hear you now.
Okay, your screen is frozen. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, so it's a bulky book, so we're really looking at coming out in print. Yeah. So send a message to me at Olabisi Folarin. It's 2,000 naira for a copy. Once you send me your email, you'll get it in your inbox, in your mail, in a matter of minutes. And you can also reach out to Dr. Molola. She can, once you reach out to her, she'll get a message across to me. Just send your email along with it, and then I'll send you the account details to pay into. We're looking at bringing it out in print, because I love to read physical book and mark my books, and I know we want to get to much more places. We're coming out in print in the next 2 months, but it will be more expensive then, because the number of pages are book is about 130 something pages, but no single page of that book is useless. It will bless you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for having me. So send me a DM.
Thank you.
And you get it in your inbox.
All right. Thank you so much. So Bolanle goodness, you heard that. And every other person that's going to watch this, you need a copy. Just send either myself or Pastor Olabisi a message to get your copy. So I believe if you have watched this video through, you have seen how passionate she is about, this subject matter, about relationships, about marriage. And we need to save as many marriages as possible. So much is going on in the world today. And, this particular subject matter is one of the key issues that is responsible for the breakdown of, a number of marriage relationships. I pray that God is going to heal as many marriages as are on the brink of breakdown or are already broken down in the name of Jesus. I would like to summarize that knowledge is power. Knowledge is key.
Yes,
if you don't know what you don't know, you don't know. So you seek knowledge. Yes, yeah. And unfortunately, just like my sister said,
when you are better
men, they think they know.
Perform better. Yes, so it's a problem. It's a big problem.
Yes, they think they know. Yes,
it's a big problem.
But is it not just to enter and come out?
Is it not just to put it in and come in? No, it's beyond that. When you read my book and I break it down for you, you'll be shocked. When you see statistics and data from real everyday women, it will shock you the number of women that are not satisfied.
Exactly.
So men, it's not an insult. I think it's a great show of love for you to want to learn how to pleasure your wife. Let's go all out to do it. That's what love does.
Right. Thank you so much, everyone that joined us. I really appreciate your presence. Thank you so much, Olubukola Adasa. Those that left comments. Thank you, Engineer Rabi, Beatrice, my dear husband. Thank you so much for the support always. Thank you, AKD Mail or something. Then Bolanle Good News, Akonji Oluwaseun, Shadrach. It's been a while. Thank you for joining the broadcast today. Thank you, Mojonyoluwa Olaleya Dewiyi. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you, and everyone that joined without leaving a comment. We appreciate it, and everyone that is going to watch this video. Yes, I trust God to use this session to bless as many people as possible. Thank you so much, everyone. Have an amazing month ahead. Have an amazing week ahead, and God bless you in Jesus' name. Bye.
Amen. Thank you.